Hello everyone, my name is Troy and welcome back to the KotLC Fanbase. Today I'm going to be bringing you 15 KotLC facts based off of the Annotated and Illustrated edition of Keeper of the Lost Cities. I recently started my reread of the series and I've been noticing some pretty cool things and also some things that Shannon pointed out, and I'm going to be going over them today. So let's get right into it. Leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Sophie is described as having an extreme fear of doctors and medical examinations. This is actually a real phobia called latrophobia, a fear of doctors and medical tests. She also experiences trypanophobia, which is a fear of needles. As you can see, she was very nervous when she got the shot in her hand when she was resetting her abilities. And it's also ironic to me because Sophie is so afraid of doctors at the start of the series, but then she proceeds to go to the healing center over 20 times. And so I just think it's hilarious that she gets hurt so much for being someone that also is very cautious because she doesn't want to go to the doctors. Number 2, Shannon loves to work in alliterations as much as possible. Some examples of these are Dex Dizznee, Iggy the Imp, and Foxfire. These are ones that Shannon mentioned, but if you guys have any more examples of alliterations in the series, please feel free to comment them down below. I'm really curious. Shannon said that it's a really fun way to bring some style and fun into a reading, and I definitely agree. So actually, in an early draft of Keeper of Lost Cities, Iggy was originally bought in a pet store in Atlantis. Iggy's cage was in like a deserted corner and there's a bunch of dust and he felt neglected, but then Shannon replaced it with the rescue scene because she felt that elves would never neglect an animal like that. It felt more natural for Sophie to save Iggy rather than her buy him. Which this also makes sense because we know that at the start of the series, Grady and Adeline did not want to leave the house for anything, so why would they take Sophie pet shopping? Didn't make much sense to me. I'm glad that Shannon worked around that. This is a fun one. Prattle pins were actually inspired by Disney trading pins, which Shannon was interested in during the time she wrote Keeper of the Lost Cities. She actually wanted there to be a prize to the Prattles to make the candy more fun and appealing and elven-esque. Shannon also wrote that she actually wants the Prattle pins to be a real thing in the future. She has her fingers crossed, and that maybe one day Shannon will actually sell these Prattle pins as merch, which I would love. You know, in Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling has sold like the chocolate frogs and stuff with the cards. That would be so cool if we got something like that with Prattles for KotLC. That'd be so cool, like especially if there's a movie and then there's like movie merch and we actually get some of the desserts and candies in real life. That would be so cool. So Shannon's actually stated that the second floor of Havenfield is loosely inspired by the Beauty and the Beast story, and in that story obviously there's the castle and there's the forbidden wing where Belle is not allowed to go into, and this feels similar in KotLC where Sophie feels like she can't enter the second floor of Havenfield, like Adeline's office and Grady's office and presumably Jolie's room. It all feels very forbidden and she feels like she can't go in, and it adds to the mystery around Jolie's death. And also mentioned that she really wanted a place where Grady and Adeline's grief could be very visible because grief is so much more impactful, I think, in the Lost Cities. This one's a funny one. Shannon actually stated that she does not remember all the counselors' names and she has to look them up every single time she has a scene with the counselors. This honestly just proves that authors aren't perfect. They don't remember everything. They have to go back into earlier drafts and earlier books and figure out what names are, because I'm sure there's so much to keep up with in KotLC with all the different cities, the names, the technology. There's a lot to keep up with, and you know, I don't fault her for not knowing the counselor names, because I don't. Like, I could list you off a couple like Emery, Tarek, Orelai, Alina, Bronte, Zarina. That's really all I know, you know? Similarly, Shannon actually chose to have an even number of counselors to ensure that each counselor had an equal voice. If there was an uneven amount of counselors, what would basically happen was if there was like a tie that came down to one person, that person would have more say than any of the other counselors, and that would lead to some pretty controversial decisions. And so to make the government more elven-esque, there needs to be an even number so that the power was distributed evenly. So we know that Sophie had a major allergic reaction after drinking the Nogganies, the elixir that Dex made to help her, which contained limbium. Sophie is deathly allergic to limbium, and so that scene where Sophie starts breaking out and starts passing out is actually reminiscent of an allergic reaction that Shannon had when she was younger. She started breaking out in hives, and she doesn't know what caused the allergic reaction, but she was drawing on the feelings that she was feeling during the time. This is just like a random detail, but Alvar has a pet raptor. It was really funny. There's just a random part in the book where Elvin talks about how Alvar's pet raptor peed all over him, and I bet that it still haunts Elvin to this day. I just think it's so funny that, like, I feel like the raptor was only mentioned once in the series. I don't think Alvar ever talked about having a pet, but how would having a pet raptor be? That feels like a kind of Iggy-esque pet, like that's kind of destructive. So the first book was actually titled Chasing Everblaze for a while, and then just Everblaze, but eventually Shannon just dropped the idea because Everblaze wasn't really introduced until the last quarter of the book, so it wouldn't make sense to lead readers on thinking that there's gonna be some sort of Everblaze and only coming up in the latter half of the book. I think Keeper of Lost Cities is such an iconic title, and I couldn't imagine anything different. I also think Shannon mentioned that she did get to sneak in the title Everblaze into the series and that she was really proud of her nerdy author self, and I am too. I'm so glad that you got to use Everblaze in one title. Now, I had no idea about this one, but Shannon actually let her followers at the time when she was writing KotLC vote on what the moonlarks would be called, and obviously moonlark was the winner. Shannon said that she invented these species by herself, but modeled the appearance on bird species and their behaviors on mythological creatures. I think the moonlarks are so iconic, and so it's really cool. Shannon chose Paris as the scene of the kidnapping and escape because Paris is one of her favorite cities and is known as the City of Light. Paris is also known for its infamous catacombs, which made it easy for the reader to think about this deep underground elven hideout. Additionally, Shannon actually walked the route of Dex and Sophie's escape from the time they woke up to their time when they leaped away to the lost cities, and that makes it all too real in my opinion. That's so cool. Shannon really did her research here, and we appreciate that. Shannon also stated that the Pont Alexandre 3 bridge is her favorite bridge of all time. Maybe I'll pop a picture of it. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm sure it's cool. And she said that the lanterns around there are really pretty, so she knew that she wanted that to be the lantern for Sophie and Dex to escape to. I thought I was going to say Keefe. If you think about it, Descrying is actually the rarest ability in the Lost Cities, if you don't include teleporting and abilities, which I don't really. A lot of characters mention that Inflicting is the rarest ability, but no one really ever mentions Descrying, which is weird because Sophie and Bronte have Inflicting, that's 2 people, but only Councillor Tarek has the Descrying ability. I really wish we knew more or saw Tarek's power and use more, because Descrying is so interesting, but we never really got a full breakdown. We just know that Sophie's unreadable and that her future is undivided. It can go multiple paths. A little bit cheesy, but you know, we love Councillor Tarek. So originally, Sophie actually had a cryptozoology session at Foxfire in earlier drafts of KotLC, but she removed it because she thought it was too similar to the Care of Magical Creatures class at Hogwarts. And I think this is good to know, because a lot of people have been complaining about like Shannon copying Hogwarts and Harry Potter and stuff like that. I think she wasn't going for that. I think she's purposely trying to remove herself from that, and this is a good example of that. This actually was one of the deleted scenes in the annotated edition. I definitely recommend. If you haven't picked up the annotated edition, it is super cool. It says illustrated and annotated version, and basically you just get little annotations like this throughout the whole book with little fun facts I'm sharing about with you today. And there's a few deleted scenes at the end, which is where I got the cryptozoology thing from. And basically, originally when Sophie went out with Gildy to catch the Everblaze, Keefe actually originally helped Sophie find a light leaper thing so that she could go and capture the Everblaze. Last up, another deleted scene from KotLC reveals that there's an annual tradition at Foxfire for the universe mentors to present a light show using the starlight that they had prodigies bottled during their assignment. Sophie describes the show as like the mentors were painting the sky and there's this soft melody being played on the chimes that make it all come to life. Basically like you're watching a movie in the sky, and I think that's so cool. I actually think this scene would be so amazing if it was actually implemented in the series. It's so peaceful, so serene. It's literally just Sophie and Dex watching the stars and their relationship getting a little bit closer. I think maybe Shannon removed that scene because I think she wanted, at that point in time, Sophie and Fitz to get together. Sophie and Dex was just moving a little bit too forward for Shannon's liking and for my liking. They were snuggling under the stars in that scene. But I think that wraps up this video. It was so much fun to create, and I had a blast reading the annotated version and seeing all these cool things about the series that I had no idea about. Like, I'm serious, you should definitely pick up the illustrated and annotated version now. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate that you stuck here for the whole video. If you are here right now and you would like to help boost this video, please make sure to like the video, subscribe down below. We're nearing 11,000 subscribers. Also, make sure to share this video with a friend. Comment down below if some of these are new to you. I feel like this is one of the most interesting facts videos that I've created. I will see you guys in a future video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, love you. my camera just fell on the ground. Oops.